You're a Formula One driver. Congratulations. Years of karting, broken bones, missed birthdays, and your parents spending the GDP of a small island have finally paid off. And then your phone rings. It's Red Bull, not the junior team, the real one. The team with championships, trophies, and a car capable of winning races. They want you. You freeze. You call your family. Your mother cries. Your father tells everyone within a 5-kilometer radius. You put on the dark blue uniform, walk into the factory, and see your name printed beside the Red Bull logo. This is it. You have reached the top. There is only one tiny problem. The other car belongs to Max Verstappen. At first, you're not worried. You're an F1 driver too. You've won championships. You've beaten future stars. You've spent your entire life being the fastest person in every room. Max has 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 steering wheel. How hard can it be? Then you enter your first engineering meeting. Max pulls up his telemetry and starts explaining a corner. He brakes later, carries more speed, rotates the car, and gets back onto the throttle before your brain has even finished processing the first instruction. You stare at the graph. It looks less like driving data and more like the heartbeat of a man being electrocuted. The engineer asks whether you understand. You nod. Of course you understand. You understand that you're completely screwed. Then you drive the car. The front end turns instantly. The rear moves around. Every small input feels like it might launch you into another postcode. You return to the garage and tell the engineers that the car is unstable. They look at Max's data. He says the balance is pretty good. Alex Albon later described Verstappen's preferred response as eye-wateringly sharp. Max wants the car to rotate the moment he touches the steering wheel. For him, that means precision. For you, it feels like driving a shopping cart down a staircase. You ask for a little more stability. The engineers make adjustments. The car feels safer, and for the first time all day, you can breathe. Then you check the lap time. You are slower. Great. You can either drive a car that terrifies you quickly or a car that comforts you slowly. Welcome to Red Bull. Qualifying arrives. You complete what feels like the perfect lap. Every corner connects. You cross the line, look at the timing screen, and smile. 4th place. Not bad for your first weekend. Then Max crosses the line 4/10 faster. 4/10 sounds like nothing. You can't even unlock your phone in 4/10. But in Formula One, 4/10 is the difference between future champion and why is this guy still employed? The reporter walks over. You are expecting questions about your first qualifying session with the team. Instead, she asks, why is Max so much faster? You explain that you are still learning the car. She asks whether the pressure is affecting you. You say no, it is definitely affecting you. Another journalist asks whether the car is designed around Max. The team says both drivers receive equal machinery. You smile. The car may be equal, but the person driving the other one appears to have downloaded a different version of physics. Race day goes better. You survive the start, make a clean overtake, and finish comfortably in the points. The team congratulates you. You climb out feeling proud. Then you look toward the podium. Max is standing on it. Again, your respectable race has become a failure because the man in the same uniform has just made the car look unbeatable. This becomes your new life. Finish 6th. Max finishes 1st. Finish 4th. Max finishes 2nd. Reach the podium. Max wins. You could rescue a child from a burning building on the final lap, and the first question would still be, why were you 8 seconds behind your teammate? So, you study harder. You spend hours in the simulator. You watch Max's onboard footage until the corners appear in your dreams. You copy his braking points, his steering inputs, and his setup. The next weekend, you push exactly where he pushes. The car snaps. You spin. Max uses the same setup and takes pole. The engineers explain that copying Max does not work because his driving style is unique. Fine. You develop your own setup. Now you stay on the track, but the gap gets larger. You ask for Max's setup again. The rear becomes nervous. Your confidence disappears. You start adjusting the car, then adjusting yourself, then adjusting the adjustments. By Friday evening, you have tried so many combinations that the car no longer knows who it is, and neither do you. The worst part is the data. In most sports, losing can feel mysterious. Maybe your opponent was stronger. Maybe luck went against you. In F1, the computer shows exactly how you were humiliated. Here, Max braked 7 meters later. Here, he carried 6 kilometers per hour more speed. Here, he got onto the throttle earlier. There is no comforting lie. Every mistake has a line, a number, and 3 engineers pointing at it. At first, this helps. You find 2/10. Then Max finds 3. You stop racing the other 18 drivers. You stop thinking about points. Your entire weekend becomes one number, the gap to Max. 2/10 feels like victory. Half a second feels like unemployment. And every time you begin improving, Max does something ridiculous. He saves a slide that should have become a crash. He wins wins from the back. He drives around a problem everyone else says makes the car impossible. You tell the press the car is difficult. Max puts it on the podium. Now the car is not difficult. You are. You begin researching the people who sat here before you. This is a terrible idea. First, there was Daniel Ricciardo. He was not some helpless rookie. When Max arrived at Red Bull in 2016, Daniel initially beat him in qualifying, race head-to-heads and points across their shared portion of the season. In 2017, Ricciardo again finished ahead on points, although reliability heavily affected Max. For a while, Daniel looked like the one teammate who could actually handle him. Then 2018 happened. Max outscored him, reached 11 podiums to Daniel's 2, and increasingly became the center of Red Bull's future. Ricciardo left for Renault at the end of the year. You close the webpage. Surely the next driver had more luck. His name was Pierre Gasly. Pierre was fast, young, and already part of the Red Bull system. He received the promotion every junior driver dreams about. 12 races later, Max had beaten him 11-1 in qualifying and 11-1 in races where both could be compared. Gasly scored 63 points during that stretch. Max scored 181. Red Bull sent Pierre back to Toro Rosso before the season was even finished. Imagine being promoted into your dream job and returning from summer vacation to discover your office now belongs to somebody else. That somebody was Alex Albon. Alex had completed only half a rookie season when Red Bull placed him beside Max. No pressure. Just learn one of the most difficult cars on the grid while being compared with a future multiple world champion every weekend on global television. At first, Alex does well. He scores points consistently and nearly reaches the podium in Brazil before contact with Lewis Hamilton. Red Bull keeps him for 2020. This should be good news. It is not. Across the 17 qualifying sessions that season, Max beats Alex 17 times. Alex scores 2 podiums, which would normally be a major achievement for a young driver. Max scores 11. At the end of the year, Albon loses his race seat and becomes a reserve driver. One season earlier, he was one of the sport's brightest young talents. Now he is watching somebody else drive his car. You stop researching rookies. Clearly, Red Bull needs experience. Enter Sergio Perez. He has raced in Formula One for a decade. He is calm, consistent, and brilliant at managing tires. Finally, Red Bull has found an adult, and for a while, it works. Checo wins races. He helps Max fight Lewis Hamilton in 2021 and earns the nickname Mexican Minister of Defense. In 2022, he takes 2 victories and finishes 3rd in the championship. In 2023, he wins 2 of the opening 4 races. He even says he wants to fight for the title. This is the moment hope enters the story, which means something horrible is about to happen. Max begins winning. Then he keeps winning, and then apparently forgets how to stop winning. By the end of 2023, Checo has finished 2nd in the championship, the best result of his career. That sounds incredible until you see the points. Checo has 285, Max has 575. The runner-up has been beaten by 290 points in the same car. You could give Checo his entire score again, and he would still be 5 points behind. Still, Red Bull keeps him. You think, see, experience survives. Then comes 2024. Max beats Perez 23-1 in qualifying and 23-1 in the race head-to-head. Checo begins the season with podiums, then fails to reach another after the 5th round. Max wins the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull falls from 1st to 3rd in the Constructors' standings, with the second car becoming a constant problem. After the season, Perez and Red Bull part ways. 4 years beside Max have turned one of the grid's most reliable drivers into a man being asked every Thursday whether this is his final race. You are beginning to notice a pattern, but Red Bull has a new solution. Liam Lawson, young, aggressive, and confident. He has impressed as a substitute and spent years waiting for this opportunity. Surely the team will give him time to adapt. They give him 2 races. Liam struggles in Australia and China. He qualifies near the back, scores no points, and is sent back to Racing Bulls before round 3. 2 races. Some television shows take longer than that to decide whether a contestant can sing. Red Bull decides whether you can partner Max before your new team merchandise has finished shipping. Now it is Yuki Tsunoda's turn. Yuki has 4 full seasons of F1 experience and knows the Red Bull system. He has spent years asking for this opportunity. He finally receives it in 2025. Max beats him 22-0 in qualifying. Across their shared races, Yuki scores 30 points. Max scores 385. Yuki's only better race finish comes in Austria, where Max retires on the opening lap. At the end of the season, Tsunoda becomes Red Bull's test and reserve driver. The seat has now consumed a rookie, an experienced winner, and the man who replaced the rookie. It does not care. It is still hungry. You look across the garage at Max. He is not laughing. He is not plotting your downfall. That would almost make things easier. Max is simply doing his job. He gives feedback, drives the car, and extracts lap time that nobody else can consistently find. The miserable truth is that your greatest enemy is not sabotage, politics, or bad luck. It is a teammate who may genuinely be better than you at the thing you have dedicated your entire life to. And Max never needs to insult you. The stopwatch handles that for him. Your confidence changes. At the beginning of the season, you attack corners. Now you approach them like they contain hidden explosives. You no longer think, how fast can I go? You think, please don't spin. That hesitation costs time. Losing time creates more pressure. More pressure creates mistakes. Mistakes create headlines. Headlines create rumors. Rumors create more hesitation. Congratulations. You have invented the Formula One version of drowning while surrounded by energy drink branding. Then, finally, you have a good weekend. The car feels alive. You qualify near Max. In the race, you defend perfectly, manage the tires, and reach the podium. The team cheers. Your family is crying again, but this time for a good reason. You stand beneath the cameras, holding the trophy, and think, I've solved it. I can survive here. Monday morning, the headlines read, Max wins as teammate finally improves. Finally, you have achieved one of the greatest results of your life and somehow become a side note in somebody else's story. But maybe that is the secret. You stop trying to become Max. You accept that matching him every weekend may be impossible. You focus on scoring points, helping the team, and taking opportunities when they appear. It is not glamorous, but for the first time, you begin rebuilding your confidence. Unfortunately, Red Bull does not employ drivers to participate in emotional recovery programs. Another bad weekend arrives, then another. The team principal says your seat is safe. This is Formula One language for please stop asking until we have finished negotiating with your replacement. At the next press conference, you insist that you are focused on the upcoming race. Your phone contains 14 messages from your manager and one missed call from an unknown Austrian number. Not ideal. You enter the factory for the final meeting. Everybody is polite, too polite. Your race engineer discusses the season. Management thanks you for your contribution. They explain that the team is moving in a different direction. You nod like a professional while your brain screams, the direction is away from me. You clean out your room. It does not take long. A helmet, some gloves, and several photographs where Max is holding a larger trophy. As you leave, the next driver walks in. His name is Isaac Hadjar. He is young, fast, and convinced he can succeed where the others struggled. And to be fair, he might. In 2026, Hadjar has already taken a Red Bull podium and produced several strong races, including a drive from the back to 6th in Belgium. After 11 Grand Prix, Max has 109 championship points, and Hadjar has 68. The gap exists, but unlike several recent predecessors, Hadjar is still building momentum rather than collapsing beneath it. You shake his hand. He asks whether you have any advice. You think about the unstable rear end, the telemetry, the press conferences, the sleepless nights, and the stopwatch that followed you everywhere. You smile and say, just drive naturally. He thanks you, puts on the Red Bull uniform, and walks toward the garage. Max is already there, waiting.